You're talking to your own higher mind right now. It's just that we are happy to function as a mask, as a filter, in a sense, as a flavor for you to let it be all right to talk to your own higher mind through us. But you're actually speaking with your own higher mind right now.
Yes, I actually had that experience last night. I realized I was talking to my higher self.
Yes,
Yeah.
well, there you go.
Okay.
Well, you still are.
Okay, the problem that I'm here to ask you about.
You mean a challenge?
Oh, yeah, a big challenge is.
All right, big challenge, but a big challenge doesn't mean it has to be defined as a problem. That's what we're saying.
Well, it's a struggle.
That's all right, it doesn't have to be.
I wish I could choose it not to be, but.
You can choose it not to be.
It's easier said than done.
That's a belief.
Okay, can I just ask my question?
Yes, you can.
I'm just curious if you could remember back to when your people, your species went through this change that we're going through, how you lived your life at the same time. I'm finding a lot of pain involved in letting go of old concepts.
The only reason you would have pain in letting go of old concepts is you don't believe that you need to let them go. You believe they're serving you still. Remember, you hold on to nothing that you don't actually believe is somehow serving you. No matter how painful they may be to hold on to, what you're actually saying is the alternative is worse.
How do I get to the bottom of how it's serving me?
Very good question. And here's how you can do it, at least one way. The idea is to understand what we have called the motivational mechanism. Again, please understand, this is automatic for everyone. There is absolutely nothing you really need to do to make this work. It's already working. You just have to allow yourself to understand how it works so that you can use it in a way that you prefer to, instead of using the mechanism in a way that you don't prefer. You follow me so far?
Yes.
All right. The motivational mechanism is simply this. And I mean there are no exceptions to this. Not even you. You follow me?
Yes.
All right. You will always, immediately, automatically move in the direction of what you believe to be in your best interest. You will always, immediately and automatically move away from what you believe is not in your best interest. Knowing that, that should tell you something. If you are holding on to something that you know intellectually is not in your best interests, and you understand the motivational mechanism I just described, the only way that that could stick around is if you have defined it in the motivational mechanism as actually being in your best interest more than the alternative. Or vice versa, you have defined the thing that you say you prefer as actually somehow being more scary, more fearful than the thing you don't prefer. And so you're so afraid of the thing you do prefer for some reason, based on some belief you're holding on to, that you're willing to put up with the pain and struggle of the thing you don't prefer just because it's more familiar. Just because it feels safer, because you're so much more scared of the thing you don't know about.
And
Does this make some sense?
Oh yeah, I've heard this many times from you, but how
But it's not sinking in.
I can't figure it out. How do I move forward? I want to move forward so bad.
Well, you have to find out what it is you're holding on to. You've heard us give the example of the idea of how people on your planet are raised with different definitions of money.
Yes.
Can you apply that idea to yourself at all about the contradictory beliefs that you are raised with that create conflict within you until such time as you actually consciously identify those beliefs? Because only by consciously identifying them can you let them go. If you don't know what they are, you have nothing to work with.
I know what my beliefs are. I guess I feel like I'm swimming upstream. Like
I don't care what you feel like.
Like my ego's
I understand what you feel like. But again, remember, the feeling only comes because you believe something to be true. You can't have a feeling without believing something to be true first. So if you have a feeling you're swimming upstream, you have got to be defining something in your life in that way. You yourself said it a moment ago. Easier said than done. These are just belief systems. They're not empirical truths. There is absolutely nothing about the phrase easier said than done that is an absolute law of creation. It's you that is giving it solidity. by believing in that idea. You're the one giving it form. You're the one giving it shape for some reason. Find out what the reason is why you are buying into those kinds of limiting ideas that produce struggle, strife, pain. Remember, pain is resistance to the natural self. So what is it about being your true natural self? What is it about the thing you prefer to be that is so much scarier than what you're already holding on to that you don't prefer? What would be the worst, most terrifying thing you can imagine would happen if you actually let go of all of these fears and negative definitions and actually allowed yourself to be who you preferred to be? What would be the scariest thing that you imagine might happen if you did that?
Yeah, I wouldn't know who I am anymore. Because
Now, all right, very good.
Yeah.
Now, why would you assume that to be true?
I define myself from my experiences and all the people around me. And if I move on to a whole different belief system,
Yes.
I'll kind of be out there by myself.
Well, may I ask you a question?
Yes, please.
Haven't you ever moved from one belief system to another ever in your life?
Yes.
Well, was that a problem for you?
Well, it was, but when I got there, I was okay.
So what makes you think it's not going to be okay again? How many examples of doing that do you need before you get the point that it's always okay?
Okay.
How many times do you have to give yourself that symbol, that reflection, before you know it will actually always be okay? How many times? It's up to you. I'm not pushing you. How many times have you already done it?
Innumerable, and it's been very painful. So maybe I'm getting from you, if I just kind of let go with it, the pain will kind of go away too.
It will not kind of go away.
It will.
It won't exist in the reality of the person that you actually prefer to be, because by definition, that person doesn't experience pain and struggle and resistance.
Okay.
You see, you have to watch your definitions. You have a definition that says, if I become who I prefer to be, there's something about that that's going to be painful. But if you actually listen to what you just said, you would realize that that's nonsensical. How could becoming who you prefer to be contain a definition of being something that is not what you prefer?
Yes.
You understand?
Yes.
Your definitions are muddled. That's where you're having the difficulty. You're not listening to the definitions you're actually using to define who it is you prefer. You're creating your own contradictory definitions about who that person is. If that really is the you prefer to be, it cannot, by definition, contain the elements of negativity that you're describing. Otherwise, it can't be that you. It wouldn't be that you. It would make no sense. So what you're defining is someone that isn't who you prefer to be. But when you define clearly who it is you do prefer to be, and you allow yourself to be that person, it will not contain anything that is irrelevant for that particular person. Your life is negative.
And I don't want to live in that other world emotionally
Then
anymore.
don't.
Okay, how?
Again, when you say real life,
Which means going to work and all that.
so
business,
what?
yeah.
Does that just mean that you're not doing what you love to do?
No, I like it, but it's so different. It has a different feel to it, you know?
Then you're not doing what you love to do.
I mean, I'm really happy that I go to work. I'm like, I like my job, but I just feel
Do
so
you
unhappy.
do what you love to do or not? Yes
I know you've
or
had this
no?
conversation a lot. Okay, I used to really love it then. Okay.
Is there something else you would rather be doing?
I'd like to be retired, yeah, and pursue this kind of life all the time where I'm just happy.
Well, why not do that?
That's the hard part, I guess. Okay.
Why are you saying that's hard? You're the one making it harder.
Yeah, you're right.
There is nothing empirically true that what it is you prefer to do has to be hard in the way that you mean it. Yes, of course, there will always be some challenge. Yes, of course, you might have to actually take some actions and do things. But if it's truly a labor of love, it won't feel like a labor. It will be a joy.
Okay. But
Are you picking up on this?
very much so. And I just got. Do you understand?
When
how,
you say very much so,
So.
unless you actually exhibit the behavior that goes along with it, it's not very much so. Remember, action and knowing are synonymous. So if you're not actually acting like it, you don't know it yet. Do you have a small object, coin, pen, anything at all that you can put in your hand, piece of jewelry?
Yes, I have one now.
Put it on the floor. Did you do it?
Yes.
Pick it up. Did you do it?
Yes.
Action and knowing are synonymous. What you know you can do, you just do. You don't think about it. You didn't go, I believe I can pick it up. I think I can pick it up. I'm not sure. Might be hard to bend over and pick that up. Not necessarily as easy as it sounds, perhaps. Oh, let me think about all the different things that could happen between here and picking it up. You didn't do any of that. You just picked it up because you innately knew in every fiber of your being that you could. Action and knowing are synonymous. So when you say, oh yes, I get it, but you're not doing it, you don't get it. You don't know it yet. So when you act like you know it, you will know it. And when you know it, you will act like you know it. Is this making some sense?
Perfect. I totally understand it. Can I just
Do
say
you?
one more thing? I do, but moving away from all the people I work with, my family, all my friends.
So what?
And was that easy for you to do when you had to do it?
I never had to do it.
But your kind went through this progression, right?
Not as much as your society, no.
Ah, okay.
But we understand the concept and have incarnations in realities, such as yours, that do go through those things, which is what gives us the understanding of those concepts. Otherwise, it would be too alien to us. Nevertheless, the idea is that when we allow ourselves to know that everything is neutral and doesn't have built-in meaning, and we supply the meaning that we prefer, we always get the effect that we prefer regardless of what's going on around us. So when we know that the things and opportunities that are presented to us in our lives are always there, always, without exception there, for us to put a positive meaning into them and get a positive effect out of, because that's our choice, then we know that that's all we will experience. And therefore, what hesitation would we ever have to move forward when we know that everything we will ever do, no matter how challenging, will always only be experienced in a positive and joyful way, because that's our choice.
And even this day, I mean, I knew I wasn't going to come here, and I woke up and I said, I have to go see Bashar because I'm going to get called. I'm going to get this opportunity. And
well,
I did.
There you go.
And I was like, I wasn't even surprised, but no one who I know would understand that way of thinking. And I
Do
see
you
them
understand this way of thinking?
Do I know it?
Now you can't say that anymore.
I see everyone suffering around me, and I can't help them.
So what?
Just let them.
You understand this very importantly. By staying in your fear, you're not helping them. By moving into your joy is the only way you can help them, because you're giving them an example to let them know they could choose to live in their joy too. But if you don't live in your joy, you never give them the chance to see that it can be done.
Thank you. That really helps me.